Ozempic is facing over 2,000 lawsuits. This is wild. But here's the twist. The side effects that people are suing over, they're not random. They're predictable, and they all trace back to one mistake baked into a standard protocol. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Dr. Jones DC, and I've guided thousands of patients on GLP-1s, and I believe they can be miracle drugs. We use them in a way that's very strategic, but when used wrong, they've already put thousands of patients in courtrooms and emergency rooms, and the difference between losing 50 pounds safely and losing your vision forever, it all comes down to understanding what's really happening at each dose. A few months ago, one of our patients told us the story of how she ended up in the emergency room. She was gripping her husband's hand. She hadn't eaten solid food in days. Her stomach had completely shut down after following her doctor's GLP-1, the standard protocol. She thought she was dying. I mean, this was literally one of those dire situations, and she's not alone. Courts are now creating separate litigation tracks just for vision loss cases because the numbers keep climbing. Look at what's happening here. A Texas woman went permanently blind. Multiple patients needed emergency gallbladder surgeries, and thousands are experiencing stomach paralysis that are lasting months. And every single case follows this similar pattern. They all started off safe, and then their doctors just kept escalating the dose. So the question as to whether or not the pharmaceutical companies saw this coming is certainly one to be had. You know, the data was in their trials, but when they looked at the numbers, scientifically speaking, it was safe. And you can still make that argument. It just doesn't seem safe when it's one of your loved ones dealing with this issue. And now the FDA just made it worse by eliminating customized doses that could actually keep people safe, in my opinion. I take GLP-1s myself. They helped me maintain a very lean and healthy physique. In our practice, we've treated thousands of patients with no issues at all. It's pretty standard and very easygoing because of how we approach it. We do it very differently. We rarely go above 0.75 or 1 milligram of semaglutide or 7.5 milligrams of tirzepatide. We monitor what others don't. We stop where others push through. Over the next 16 minutes, I'll show you exactly which side effects are reversible, which ones aren't, and when they typically strike, and more importantly, the safe protocol that makes all the difference. So let's start with one that terrifies me the most because once it happens, there's no going back. Permanent vision loss. So picture waking up tomorrow and half of your vision in one eyeball is just gone forever. No warning, no treatment, just permanent darkness. That's NAION, non-arthritic ischemic optic neuropathy. And Harvard researchers just proved semaglutide increases your risk over 4-fold. A Texas woman filed suit after losing vision on Ozempic. She's not alone. Courts are creating separate litigation tracks just for vision loss because the numbers are climbing. This is real. The Danish tracked over 424,000 patients, and they confirmed it. Semaglutide doubles your vision loss risk. But here's the terrifying part that most doctors miss. This typically strikes around month 22 of treatment. Know what else happens by month 22? Most patients have been pushed to the maximum dose. Think of your optic nerve, the nerve that feeds your eyeball, like a garden hose that can never be turned off. When blood flow gets pinched, even briefly, the nerve tissue dies. Unlike a scraped knee or a broken bone, optic nerves never regenerate. Dead is dead. The Texas woman was on 2 milligrams of semaglutide when she lost her vision. That's 8 times the starting dose. Her doctor followed the standard instructions. Double the dose every 4 weeks. 24 months later, darkness. In our practice, we are constantly trying to use the lowest dose possible by having good communication with our patients. If any patients have diabetic retinopathy in their history, then we're going to have that conversation and maybe not even use GLP-1s at all. It is one of those things that has to have that discussion needs to happen. The pharmaceutical companies did see these results in their trials. The data was there, but they didn't highlight the risk. And I think that's where all this controversy is coming from. The numbers are the numbers, and the actual absolute risk is very low. We've treated thousands of patients with GLP-1s and we've had 0 issues, but we keep people on the lowest dose. The standard protocol that just keeps increasing, I think that's the bigger issue. By the way, gastric paresis, aka stomach paralysis, you can reverse that. Nausea goes away, but vision loss, once those lights go out, they never come back. By the way, if you're realizing that your medication dose might be dangerously high, hit that subscribe button right now because we put out 2 videos every single week showing exactly how to spot warning signs before permanent damage may happen. If you're struggling with the weight loss plateau and you're freaking tired and fed up and you want personalized help and you want to work with me and or my medical practitioners, we do offer free consultations. I'll put that link in the description. Click that form, get yourself scheduled, meet with one of my experts, and I'd love an opportunity to get you back on track and make sure that this is the last weight loss program you ever have to do. And speaking of damage that's preventable, wait until you hear what's happening with the FDA. This is where things get a little bit more twisted. While lawsuits pile up, the FDA just made a decision that eliminates your safest options. They're cracking down on compounded semaglutide, the versions that allow precise low-dose customization. Compounded versions let doctors, like our prescribers, prescribe whatever we think we need to prescribe, which can be low, very low in some cases. Tiny specific doses that work without triggering complications. But pharmaceutical companies are pushing to eliminate these alternatives. Think about the logic here. We have mounting evidence that standard dosing causes serious complications. Yes, the absolute risk is very low, and overall, it's still better to use GLP-1s if you need it. But we have an option here, folks. We can decrease that risk even more. Forcing everybody to preset doses when we know that's a bigger issue, that drives me crazy. This isn't about safety. Compounded versions have been used safely for years with proper oversight. This is about market control. And when people can't access customizable doses, they're forced into a one-size-fits-all protocol. To me, that's what's causing these problems. I was talking to a doctor the other day that just told me about a patient who was thriving on 0.25 milligrams of compounded semaglutide, now forced to brand name Ozempic. They had to go on to higher doses, and that escalation it took off. And she's terrified, right? And that brings me to the danger that's sending people to emergency rooms across the country. Stomach paralysis, aka gastroparesis. So that's when your stomach becomes paralyzed. Your stomach literally stops moving. Research shows about a 3.67-fold increase risk of gastroparesis with GLP-1 use. It's the most common serious complication. Remember Sarah from the waiting room, 3 months on Ozempic, followed the standard protocol. She tried to eat and food would sit in her stomach for days, not hours, days. Violent vomiting, weight loss from starvation, not the medication. Studies show GLP-1 users have a 19 to 56% residual gastric content versus 5 to 20% in normal patients. Your stomach becomes a storage unit instead of a processing plant. And that's a big deal. This graph shows the cliff. Stomach function plummets after 1 milligram. Yet the standard protocol pushes past this danger zone automatically. So let me break that down. GLP-1s are designed to slow digestion. We know that. Powerful for weight loss when done correctly, but there's a massive difference between slowing and stopping. At 0.25 milligrams, you'll get helpful appetite control. In some cases, sometimes you're going to need higher, but at 2.4, your digestive system can shut down entirely. See, the good news though, gastroparesis from GLP-1s is almost always reversible. This isn't true stomach paralysis that we see in late-stage diabetic patients because the stomach died. Stop or reduce the doses and the stomach function returns. The bad news, unfortunately, doctors are just pushing through the warning signs instead of backing off. It's like everybody's so excited to get to these high doses. It's ridiculous. By the way, have you experienced severe nausea that your doctor dismissed as normal? Share your story below because it might help someone recognize the warning signs. So in our practice, with cases of over thousands, our gastroparesis rate is near zero. We've only had a handful of patients actually have true gastroparesis. And I think it goes back to our low dosing narrative. Remember, we don't push past 0.75, 1 milligram of semaglutide in most cases. That dosing protocol we mentioned earlier, that's the culprit here. I think this is the big issue. I'm not saying we should never do that. I'm saying that should be a last resort. And that's not what's happening in the real trenches. Like out there in the real world, everybody's just so damn excited to go, 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 go. Increase, increase, increase. It's freaking wild. Anyways, let me shift gears now and rapid fire through 3 more complications that are destroying lives. Number 3, bowel obstruction. So studies show a 4.22-fold increase. Your intestines literally get blocked. I'm talking emergency room visits, potential surgery because your gut stopped moving. One patient described it as feeling like my intestines were made of concrete. Number 4, gallbladder disease. So meta-analysis shows 37% increased risk overall. Out of thousands of patients, exactly 1 needed gallbladder surgery. She was at the maximum 2.4 milligram dose. The pattern is clear. High doses, higher risk. Number 5, hair loss. While not life-threatening, what we know is case reports document significant alopecia, aka hair loss, that's devastating for self-esteem. It's linked to rapid weight loss and nutritional deficiencies, not from being able to eat properly. You see the pattern yet? Every risk correlates with dose escalation, every single one. Studies prove dose-dependent relationships for all major risks. Research shows a 6-fold increase gastric content risk at higher doses, which leads me to expose the real issue here, the protocol that's creating all of this catastrophe. So again, before you try to villainize GLP-1 medications, you got to stop that. It's this insane dosing protocol that everybody's so excited to jump into. Every GLP-1 prescription comes with instructions. Start at 0.25, then increase every 4 weeks. No evaluation, no assessment of response, just automatic doubling until you hit the maximum dose. But that's where we create problems. And by the way, this is a game changer here. Imagine prescribing any other medication this way, like take blood pressure pills, just keep doubling it. You'd see some pretty wild things happen. We don't do that. Drug companies own research that proves this risk increase. They know larger doses cause greater complications, but they're going to go back to that absolute risk and say, well, when we look at the mass population, the overall benefit is there despite the risk. That's the basis of medicine. It's always risk versus reward. Well, being in that risk category is shitty. And just the fact that there's more people that benefited, I don't like that. And it drives me crazy because we have options in front of us. And by the way, people with severe insulin resistance often don't respond to lower doses. The extreme metabolic dysfunction, obesity, diabetes, these are the people that are going to have to go to larger doses unless you implement aggressive lifestyle interventions. And that's exactly what we do in our clinic. And I think this is why we're doing a good job, why we have very low risk, we have very low complications, we keep people on lower doses, and that's because we address insulin resistance with lifestyle interventions. Last week, a new patient of ours came to us on 2 milligrams of Ozempic with every issue that we've discussed, and our practitioners were able to do a full medication reset, got her back to 0.5, and she was good. She had the same appetite control at 0.5, a fraction of what she was on before. So let me show you exactly how we use these medications and give you a whole new way to think about them. Okay, so let's talk solutions. The safe way, lasting weight loss without risking your vision, your stomach, or your sanity. Start with the lowest dose possible. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Microdosing is a very popular term, and that means using even lower than the starter doses. You're not going to microdose when you start this journey. I want to be clear. Microdosing is something that you have to work into in the future. So you're going to start with the starters, 0.25 of semaglutide or 2.5 of tirzepatide. But the key is the way you approach dosing. So you'll have to increase your dose if you don't make any changes in lifestyle because your body acclimates to the medication. But if you implement strategic lifestyle interventions, and what we do with our patients is the FLOA protocol, strategic fasting combined with insulin resistant work. For example, we cut our carbohydrates down, we increase our fat intake, we keep the protein intake constant, we're adding solid resistance training, and we optimize stress and sleep. We're also looking at inflammation and hormone balance too as well. There's harmony when you put everything together, and the body functions so much more effectively. But you have to do this, and you have to have that proper narrative from the beginning. You do this, and you will be able to stay on lower doses. I can almost guarantee it. Jennifer came to us after failing on 2 milligrams of Wegovy. We did the reset. We got her on 0.25 milligrams, implemented some of those strategies. She ended up losing 45 pounds without a single complication. And now she's maintaining on a microdose. She does 0.25 every 2 weeks, and she's maintaining her weight loss, and it's easy. Remember, your doctor might push you to power through the side effects, but that's exactly how people end up with these big complications. Okay, so let's set you up with a plan that you can walk away with today. Wherever you're at in your GLP-1 journey, ask yourself, in the past 6 months or however long you've been on, did you increase when you really needed to? Did you actually attempt to challenge yourself, your mindset before you increased? Have you implemented strategies to improve your health, like intermittent fasting, low carb eating? If you're stuck and you're stalled on a larger dose, then something needs to give. And for me and what we do, it's always that powerful medication reset. So talk to your prescribers, see what you can do about just revamping your entire thing and kind of fresh start, clean slate. And that is the power of a medication reset, which is something that we do with our patients every single day. If you guys are looking for an action plan to just change it up entirely, I'm going to leave a link into my description to book a free discovery call with my experts. It'll be an opportunity for you to speak to them and kind of get a better idea of what that looks like and what it's like to have actual guidance and support with a completely different dosing narrative than what you've been used to. Again, link in the description. And if you guys enjoyed this video and you have a little bit more curiosity behind the 10 biggest mistakes that patients make regarding their GLP-1 meds, check out that video right there. All right, guys, we'll see you later.